Oh yeah.
And DeMayo's owned that, and they would deliver. I remember that, and they would if you ordered steak, a steak, and you wanted so and so, if you're the right person, you got the best steak that there was around at the time. This was a J.C. Penney's store here when they moved from down below. That used to be Be All drugstore right there on the corner. In fact, I'll have to show you something. That's Be All's. Used to be all Be All's Rexall. First time I ever tasted a Tum was they used to give them away in there for nothing. A roll of Tums, and I ate them like candy. And here, Be All's Compounding Pharmacy. I'll be damned. I mean, that's something. Now this, on this corner right here, this used to be the Chevrolet garage. Chevrolet. And before the post office was built, that was just a vacant lot over there.
Oh yeah.
Now where that is, of course, during the Depression, that used to be the gas station there, and the city hall.
There's gas stations on every corner. Just about.
Oh, there used to be, yeah. Well, that's when you could get. That's when you used to be able to buy Maxwell gas when it first came out. Of course, that was after the Depression. That was in the 30s, 39. We used to go down on Puyallup Avenue where the XXX barrel was at the time, and you get 5 gallons of gas for $1, and they give you a pound of Hamilton chocolates. And we'd go down there and we'd put up just $1 worth of gas, get 5 gallons in that old Model A truck because we was hauling lumber and stuff like that, and wood away from the Sizer's Mill down there in Tacoma to the they got the wood for nothing. The employees did, but they'd have to haul it themselves, so we would haul it for them for $5 or $6 a load, a huge load. We'd go down on the Saturdays and work up there and pick up all of their scrap stuff, and we'd buy that, and then we would buy just 1 gallon, or buy $1 worth, and then we'd do around to make it a couple, 3 or 4 loads, and go back and buy another $1's worth. And so we'd get our pound of chocolates. Oh yeah. Now this used to be Gertzman's, and this little thing right here, at one time that was a little niche, and there was a mom and dad had a little kind of candy store there. They sold newspapers and buckets like that. But Meeker owned that, the little section there, and he wouldn't sell it to this guy, and he owned that land, and he wouldn't sell it. So I'm going to pull over here for a minute. But anyway, it was quite interesting. We go down there. That was Gertzman's store where the pawn shop is now. That was Gertzman's Clothing. This was the Puget Sound Power and Light building there where Mr. Cushing lived. And right on this building, right on this corner right here, let's just go down here.
When did Meeker die?
Right.
1928.
Right here on this corner was a huge. I don't know if you have any pictures of Puyallup. Do you have any?
I got some old ones. I've seen some.
Okay, well that was the. I'm just going to pull in here so we can get off the traffic. But on that corner, there was a huge building with it was an apartment. It was a hotel. And on the bottom corner was Bunn's Pharmacy. Next to that was Martin's Confectionery Store. Then next to that was the Dream Theater.
Oh, really?
And that's where you
that's where the kids went and saw films. Cowboy films?
Oh yeah, cowboy films. Oh, Hoot Gibson and Tom Mix, and you had a cereal, Fleisch Gordon cereal on there, boy, and they the first 5 minutes of the cereal would show you what the last 5 minutes was before, then they show you 5 minutes, then they would show you 5 minutes what's going to be happening next week, you know. It was fantastic, but it only cost me $0.10 to go in. Okay, but on the corner of Pullman's up there, in order to get the money, I would sell PIs.
Oh yeah?
And I made 3 cents of paper on it, and I'd sell enough PIs, and we'd get on there and go over to Be All's and buy a big Hershey bar for, I think it was about 30 cents for a pound and a half of Hershey bar, and we sit there and eat that. And then it was the only heat was a huge, look, it must have been about a 500-gallon fuel oil tank was the heat in that theater, and that it was a kind of a. I think the young man that took care of it was what we would call now probably deficient child, but he was an adult, and they gave him that job, and he took care of it. He cleaned it up and everything like that, and he kept the fire stoked, and we was warm in there and everything like that. And it was just a single aisle down, and about maybe 10 or 12 benches, seats along each side going down, and it was always packed on a Saturday. But it was only open on Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
They didn't open it during the rest of the week. The Liberty Theater was open. I remember the time that the Gone with the Wind was shown. It was so long that they had to take a break. And they went out and they all wandered around on the street out there, and they went down to the drugstore and got some snacks, stuff like that. That's before they sold candy and things like that in the theaters. But on that corner, that was the big thing there. Now where we're sitting right now was another ice plant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was an ice plant, and where that building is now, that was a huge hotel up above, and it was called the Opera House. During the war, they turned the Opera House into a youth meeting for kids to go to dances and stuff like that from school after school on Friday nights. We'd have our classes, our gym, and we'd go down and play badminton and dance and have music up on the balcony. But that was there, and there over there, just about in that corner, would be where the jail was. And then over on this side, before they built the post office down below, the post office was on Pioneer, and next to that was Hood's Hardware, and then the bank, Citizen State Bank, was there.
Well, the bank used to be right here too, though.
That's it. That's what it was. It was right. It was right on the corner. That was Citizen State
I
Bank.
thought you said a hotel or something was there.
Oh well, it was a hotel up above.
Oh.
Oh yeah, everything. They didn't worry about somebody cutting down through the roof and breaking into the bank at night, I guess, you know. I mean, why should they? It didn't happen, things like that. I mean, now, my God, for you, you don't have them anywhere near your place. But, okay. Now, where Cornforth Collision is,
Yeah.
all right, now that used to be right here on the corner, was right on the corner. This was a blacksmith shop. Now this used to be an alley right here. There was one house here, and we lived in the next house over where they tore it out here. But down here, this would be just about here would be where the blacksmith shop was. And I used to marvel at those horses, how they could stand to have nails driven in their feet. And it wasn't hurting them any. There was a fellow there that he was a crippled man. He had this huge horse, and he always took real good care of it. And he did a lot of the excavating. Now this is right all the way through. At Peace Lutheran, the minister was Carl Killian. He was a German man.
They spoke German at the service, right?
Mm-hmm. And we went to church there because of Dr. Killian. He was a jeweler over in Sumner, and he was a watch repairman, and he incidentally Hood's Hardware moved into that brick building there after they moved from over on the corner over here on Pioneer. They used to be in that brick building there, or next to it before the one that they tore down. But this was all housing in here.
So that building back there didn't have anything to do with trains?
Pardon?
That building back there, Cornforth, didn't have anything to do